Welcome to the official YouTube channel of ForEternia.com. I'm your host AJ, and today we're doing an unboxing and a mini review of the Masterverse 2.0 Wave 11 Masters of the Universe New Eternia Man-at-Arms figure. Now, this is the third time that Man-at-Arms has ever appeared in Masterverse Plastic, and you see those other two figures to the left and right of Man-at-Arms. But I'm really excited to check out this new one. But originally, I had a very awkward relationship with Man-at-Arms when I was a kid. Back in the 80s, I had that Wave 1 set of Masters of the Universe figures, and I really couldn't figure out Man-at-Arms. I couldn't figure out why Man-at-Arms had such a human head attached to a green-skinned body. Yes, I thought that green skin wasn't a bodysuit, but was actual skin color. And, why wouldn't I, right? It was green under his gauntlet. He had a gauntlet over that bodysuit. He had a loincloth over that bodysuit. So I literally thought that was his green skin. And also, he looked kind of truncated, right? He looked kind of smushed in from the top of his head. Like someone took a hammer and went clonk and, and smushed him down a little. And then the last thing I just didn't understand is I was like, why does he have only armor on one side of his body, I had no idea, I was a knucklehead back then, and I'm less of a knucklehead now, so I understand that, the purpose of having armor on one side of your body and swinging the weapon with the other and not being weighted down by armor. I mean, I get that now as an adult, as a little smarter knucklehead now, but as a kid, I had no understanding of that. But it wasn't until the Filmation series, the 1983 Filmation series, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, is when I finally got a better understanding and appreciation of Duncan. The fact that he looked like, okay, he was Teela's adoptive father, and this must be a green suit that he's wearing. And actually, his armor set made a lot more sense to me, too, at least in the Filmation series, because he had armor on all sides of his body. And I understand why he did that. In those cost-saving methods in the Filmation series, they wanted to put armor on both sides so they can actually just flip the animation cell. So if he's walking on one side, from, say, right to left, they could flip the animation cell and use the same, cells to walk left to right, if he wasn't holding a weapon or what have you. So I understand the purpose then, or I understand the purpose now, but he made a lot more sense as a character to me in the Filmation series and made me appreciate him more. And I got to see him without his green skin suit as well, right? We got to see him in bed in one episode with his helmet off and with his suit off. And I'm like, okay. He's not half lizard and half human. This guy is a human, just straight out humanoid. And so I appreciated that cartoon. And because of that cartoon, I appreciated the character much more after having a better understanding of it. Okay, so that's my story with Man-at-Arms, but let's take a closer look at this packaging. So here it is, the Masterverse 2.0 packaging for New Eternia Man-at-Arms. Now, I think I'm going to say this in the front of every Wave 11 unboxing and review video. If you're curious what I think about this updated packaging for Masterverse, be sure to check out our Sorceress Teela unboxing and review video, and I go into detail about that. But regarding this packaging, this looks great. The artwork here is done again by Simon Eckert. And we have this great battle scene, and we see Man-at-Arms in his battle pose with his mace, and we see the Wind Raider flying overhead with colors that match Man-at-Arms. And then we have the Battle Ram blasting away, and then we see the Eternian Guard here, charging into battle. And looking at this one guard without his face mask, are you thinking what I'm thinking? I bet you are. I bet this figure could be used for army building, but we'll get into that. And then here on the spine, we have the profile artwork of Man-at-Arms, and we have the mustacheless Man-at-Arms with this ball and chain mace, and we'll get into that. And then we have the mustache Man-at-Arms with this very old style looking helmet, and we'll get into that. And then on the back of the box, once again, I think it was mentioned at San Diego Con that this isn't actually toy photography, but it's computer generated. It's 3D modeling of the figure. And to be honest with you, it doesn't really come across that real, that authentic. But we do have some artwork on the back of the box. A third picture here of Duncan, of Man-at-Arms, right next to his bio. So let's check out his bio. His bio says, Man-at-Arms, heroic master of weapons. The last thing Duncan remembered was He-Man shouting, by the power of Grayskull! Reality cracked, and all went dark. Suddenly, Man-at-Arms found himself in a new Eternia, one broken and in need of repair. I don't know about you, but these bios are just way too short for me on the Wave 11 figures. It's not enough information to give an accurate depiction of what they're trying to portray to the collector, but what can you do? All right, so that's it regarding the packaging. So let's get them out of the box and take a closer look. So here is the new Eternia Man-at-Arms in 360 degrees, and boy, does he look stunning. Now, in regards to his subline, right, New Eternia, it's supposed to be based on the old discarded concept art, right, discarded designs that never came to fruition when the vintage figure was released. I'm not seeing much of Mark Taylor's original concepts in this figure. I mean, he should have had, like, this red square belt buckle. He doesn't have that. I think in the concept art, he should have, like, orange boots, maybe with some white straps. He doesn't have that. But I'm really not complaining here, because regardless, this is a fantastic looking figure. I love this like gold eagle emblem on the back, and these crossed swords looks really cool. And I like the work done in the helmet. There's really not much paint wash here going on. Yeah, it's all pretty much flat paint, but you know what? It works for him. I do like the metallic blue on the helmet here and on the bracers and the belt, but otherwise it's pretty flat. Maybe it could have used some wash on the boot here and the straps to make it look more, leather looking. But otherwise, I really like this look. So let's take a closer look by starting with that face sculpt. It's me, Mario! I'm sorry. I get a little Super Mario Brothers vibe looking at Duncan here, but his head sculpt looks fantastic. Look how well he looks. This is great. I have to admit, the paint job is a tiny bit sloppy. They got a little, I don't know if it comes across camera, but he got a little of the brown mustache paint on his nose. It looks like he has hair growing on his nose. Hey, and that happens when we get older, right? A random hair will grow on your nose, and it looks like Duncan is no different. This is really just a fantastic head sculpt. And same thing goes with his alternate head sculpt. I mean, look how great these are. And, you can't go wrong picking the mustache look or the non-mustache look. And both these helmets are interchangeable, and we'll get to that in a second. But, great job, Masterverse. These are great. Okay, so let's talk something very cool and then something not so cool. In regards to very cool, as I mentioned before, the helmet is removable. You can remove the helmet and look at this. This looks like a wetsuit on Duncan, and he's got little hearing aids on each side. I guess they didn't paint him because it probably rubs off when you pull the helmet off. But this is such a great look, and it supports that. No, this is not green skin. This is a suit. And you could go ahead and change the helmet out to the more, the classic vintage-looking, Filmation helmet here. And this is so fantastic. But the one thing that is not so fantastic is when you strip him down to this suit, there's one piece of armor you can't remove. You can't remove this ankle armor. I don't get it why it was designed this way. Everything else was removable. I think on the previous Masterverse figures, you can remove all the armor set. But on this new Eternia one, this one piece, you can't. This is actually part of the ankle. This won't come off. Look at that. Look at that. It won't come off. What were they thinking? I mean, why would you want to strip him down if he's going to still have one piece on his ankle? Does he keep it because it's his lucky piece of armor? My left foot. It's my lucky left foot armor. I'm going to go to dinner with this, or I don't know. So I don't understand this design choice. Like I said, the previous Masterverse figures, you could remove all the armor sets, but this one you can't, and I don't get it. You know, it was like, oh, you're going for gold, and then, you know, right before the finish line, you stop to go get a Gatorade, you know, and then everyone else passes you. So otherwise, I love it. It's fantastic. It's ingenious. It looks terrific, but this makes me nuts. My lucky leg! My lucky leg armor! Here inside this armor. I'm never taking it off. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on this thing. You know what's funny is you can remove the arm bracer here, the wrist bracer, but you can't move this armor. But I'm here to talk about articulation. You're going to get that great 30 points of articulation out of this figure, obviously. The only thing that's strangely restricted is the head, and I just wanted to point that out. That, you know, Duncan can look down, but based on the shape of the neck, he has that sort of like clam champ issue that he can't look up, you know? I'm going to pop the head off. So if Zor's flying above him, he's not going to be able to look up. He's going to have to do a Michael Keaton Batman thing, you know, and sort of bend his body back. But he can look it down fine, but he just really can't look up. So that's the only thing really restricting articulation. Oh, he also has those drop-down hips. So in regards to accessories, this new Eternia Man-at-Arms comes locked and loaded. He comes with so much. First, he comes with these two fists, you know, these two punching hands here. Then he also comes with a additional helmet. This is like a vintage style, Filmation style helmet. He comes with an additional head, a head without a mustache. He comes with his iconic mace. And then he comes with a different attachment for the mace top, this new ball and chain effect. And this is so great. This is such a robust amount of accessories. And when I think back to the previous figures in this wave that I reviewed, the Sorceress Tila, but especially the Skeletor Skeletech, those figures hardly came with accessories. And those figures were the same price as this one. So this one really gives you a bang for your buck. And to be honest with you, those other figures you might even feel, after opening this one, feel a little bit shortchanged. So here we have the more classic vintage head with the classic vintage helmet, a classic vintage looking Man-at-Arms swinging his mace. And now we have the same look, but with his Filmation style mustache. Now, if you'd rather go with the new Eternia design with this mace, what you could do is just pop off the top, like so. And then we're going to put on this ball and chain effect, which was from the original concept art of Man-at-Arms by Mark Taylor. It's really a devastating weapon, and I think it's very fitting, say, you know, the Barbarian He-Man from the mini-comics. Nothing we'd see in Filmation, because this thing is going to do some damage. And now, look at that. What a devastating weapon. He's swinging it in motion, in battle. Yeah, look at that. That thing is cool. So in regards to army building, I think this new Eternia Man-at-Arms could work really well. And that's because you get two different heads with this figure and two different helmets. So you could pick like one generic head and buy 3 of these figures, and they all wear the same helmets, and they could be your Eternian Royal Guard. And then your Man-at-Arms, your Duncan, who's leading them, could have that mustache head with a different helmet than the guards, and he could be holding the mace, and he could be having the shoulder armor and look starkly different from the, you know, the Royal Eternian Guard that he's leading. And I think it could make a striking scene for any collector that likes the army build. Now on the back of the armor, there's a clip for his mace, which interestingly comes off. I'm not sure why, but you just slip this in here, and in either way, either top down or top up, you could pop in the mace, and he's ready to go. So in regards to the reuse of sculpts, I have the Revelation Man-at-Arms to the right, and I have the new Eternia Man-at-Arms to the left. And they both have the same shoulders, the same biceps, the same elbows, the same forearms. We won't worry about the hands. The same thighs, the same knees, the same calves, except the new Eternia Man-at-Arms has the drop-down hips. They share the same torso, the same chest, you know, the same buck. But the things that are different are the feet, the boots, the loincloth, the belts, the armor set, of course, and then the heads. So what do I think of the Man-at-Arms Masterverse 2.0 New Eternia Wave 11 figure? I adore this one, guys. I think this is my favorite Man-at-Arms Masterverse figure to date, and I really like the previous two. But this one I think really appeals to my classic sensibilities, you know, especially the face sculpts. They really sell it to me, especially the one with the mustache. And I also love the sculpting of the helmet and the armor, and I love the insignias on the armor, like the crossed swords and the eagle, and it's so well done. And I like the mace. I even like the mace with the ball and chain aesthetic from its classic roots. It's all very cool. Now, it's not a perfect figure. Obviously, it does have some paint issues, especially in that head sculpt that you saw, but especially also the unremovable armor piece on his left ankle. That to me is pretty ridiculous. I don't know how this got past quality inspections that way when this figure was approved. I'm not sure what happened there because, like I said, the previous Man-at-Arms figures, you could take all of their armor off, but for some reason on this figure, this New Eternia figure, it's stuck to his leg, and to me it's kind of unacceptable, but it doesn't kill my love for this figure. I love this figure. I love that you could remove the helmet and you have this whole wetsuit look of Man-at-Arms. I never thought I'd have that before. I never thought I'd want that before, but I want it, I love it, and I like it here. You know, even with its faults, this is really a well-executed figure that I love a lot, and I'm happy that I'm going to be putting on my shelf after I'm done with this video. So that's it. I want to thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.